welcome to News Around the World on the most listened to radio station, Akojopo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Wuraola Yusuf. The headlines: Presidency says US is ready to boost Nigeria's security, intelligence, defense support. Makinde unveils over 800 billion naira budget of economic expansion for 2026. Bolsonaro says hallucinatory effect of meds and made him tamper with Ankutag. Venezuela rejects ridiculous U.S. plan to designate Cartel de los Sols as terrorist organization. Green Hawks have fallen three-nation rugby league double header against Ghana. And now the details. The presidency says the United States government has signaled a renewed commitment to boosting security collaboration with Nigeria, including expanded intelligence sharing and the supply of military equipment to support counter-terrorism and counter-extremism operations nationwide. This assurance followed a series of high-level meetings in Washington last week between senior Nigerian officials and key arms of the U.S. government, aimed at strengthening defense ties and exploring new areas of cooperation. This was disclosed in a statement issued today by the Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, who said the Nigerian team used the engagement to address misconceptions about the country's security situation. The Nigerian delegation, led by National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, held discussions with officials from the U.S. Congress, the White House Faith Office, the State Department, the National Security Council, and the Department of War. The Oyo State Governor, Engineer Oluseyi Abiodun Makinde, has presented a budget of 891 billion 985 million 74,480 naira 79 kobo as budget of economic expansion for the 2026 fiscal year. The governor made the presentation today when he appeared before the House of Assembly, stressing that the 2026 budget was built on the foundation and stability and inclusive growth. Agidigbo FM News correspondent Oluwapemi Bamidele was there. Reports coming shortly. Comrade Omololu Ejidiran has called for strict sanctions against identified sponsors providing financial support to terrorists, stressing that Nigeria cannot win the fight against insecurity without the Department of State Services apprehending those terrorist activities. Speaking today on Agidigbo FM's people-oriented program, Shokonwa, Comrade Omololu Ejidiran, who is a social affairs analyst, emphasized that religious elements should be removed from the Nigerian constitution, stating that the government should stop funding religious activities if Nigeria is truly a secular state.
I believe in kinetics, but kinetic without treating the root cause of terrorism, which is the sponsor, and the extremist, religious extremist, is not there. If Nigeria claim to be a secular state, why should you give recognition to religious elements in the constitution? I call for that, and whoever among the religious leader, that practice extremism should be dealt with accordingly.
However, Comrade Ejidiran beckons on the government to take proactive measures in curbing insecurity issues, noting that the Nigerian government must focus on restructuring and empowering our local security agencies to tackle threats, including searching the hideouts of bandits and terrorists. Now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Kunle Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Olushola Damilola. Business leaders in United Kingdom were nervous few days before Chancellor Cherif's second budget. According to the report, taxes will rise and it will take money out of the economy. However, as the Chancellor pulls money out, the Bank of England is likely to push money back in lowering interest rates, thereby encouraging people and businesses to borrow and spend, although head of CBI Businesses Group, Ray Newton-Smith, admitted that stability is the only road to growth and urged the government not to eat business with more taxes. Brazil former President Jair Bolsonaro said hallucination and nervous breakdown led to an attempt to tamper with his electronic ankle tag. Bolsonaro, who was expected to move from house arrest to prison next week, has denied the incident was an attempt to escape. The 70-year-old was placed under house arrest in early August, weeks before he was convicted for leading a coup after losing his country's 2022 election. It was reported on Sunday that he had tried to open his ankle monitor with a soldering iron in an apparent bid to flee and avoid jail. Bolsonaro is expected to begin serving his 27-year jail term sometime next week. And that ends the news. From Kule Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola.
You're welcome back. We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Soya. The United States and Ukraine sought on Monday to narrow the gaps in a peace plan to end the war with Russia after agreeing to modify a U.S. proposal that Kyiv and its European allies saw as a Kremlin wish list. Washington and Kyiv said in a joint statement they had drafted a refined peace framework after talks in Geneva last Sunday. Though there were no specifics, the dialogue received a cautious welcome from some of Ukraine's allies. The US blindsided Kyiv and European countries with a 28-point peace plan last week, giving Ukraine until Thursday to agree to a framework to end Europe's deadliest war since World War II. After Sunday's talks, no public statement was released on how the revised peace plan would handle contentious issues such as how to guarantee Ukraine's security against future Russian threats and how to fund the rebuilding of Ukraine. Zelensky said the negotiations were ongoing, while the Kremlin said nothing had officially been conveyed to Russia. The Venezuelan government on Monday rejected what it called a ridiculous U.S. plan to designate the non-existent Cartel de los Soles a terrorist organization ahead of Washington's expected designation later in the day. United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio said earlier this month his country would designate the Cartel de los Soles a foreign terrorist organization for its alleged role in importing illegal drugs into the U.S. The Trump administration, which alleges the cartel is made up of high-ranking officials, had accused Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of leading the group, which it denies. The move comes as Maduro faces escalating pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump via a massive U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean. It has also raised some concerns that the U.S. may seek to use the designation of the group to justify military action, though sanctioned experts say the statute does not authorize such a move. Maduro and his government have always denied any involvement in crime and have accused the U.S. of seeking regime change because of a desire to control Venezuela's vast oil reserves. And that ends the news from Kule Hamzat Studio, Agidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Soya.
Today, the governor of Oyo State presented the budgets to the State House of Assembly. Agiriwe FM News correspondent Oluwafemi Bamidele brings the reports.
The floor of the Oyo State House of Assembly hosted August visitors today as the state lawmakers, members of the state executive, judiciaries, politicians, traditional rulers, and some other stakeholders came together to witness the 2026 budget proposal presentation by the Governor of Oyo State, Engineer Oluseyi Abiodun Makinde.
The 2026 budget of economic expansion, totaling 891 billion 985 million 74,480 naira 79 crore, builds on the foundation of stability to drive productivity and inclusive growth.
While presenting the budget proposal tagged Budget of Economic Expansion, Governor Makinde railed out sectorial distribution of the proposed budget and informed that infrastructure would get 210 billion naira at 23.5%, education would go up 155 billion naira at 17.4%, health would get 70 billion naira at 7.9%, agriculture will go up 19 billion naira at 2.2%. Governor Makinde, while speaking further, said the budget set aside 502.65 billion for capital expenditure, representing 56% of the budget, which indicates the administration's continued emphasis on expanding and upgrading public assets, while recurrent expenses are pegged at 389.34 billion naira, covering personnel, overheads, and other routine obligations.
I will honor the promise that I made to visit, to listen, and to explore all possibilities, including resettlement, in addition to adequate compensation. And I will start this week, Wednesday, I'll visit the local. So,
legislators, in their separate contributions, praised the governor for what they describe as a proactive approach to addressing the state's economic pressing needs. Many used the session to outline road deficits and infrastructural challenges in their constituency, while also expressing support for the administration's push on major capital projects, including the Ibadan Circular Road. Governor Makinde, in his response to the issues presented to him by the lawmakers, assured that his administration will look into those projects at all zones of the state. In his remarks, the Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Adebo Ogundoyin, described the 2026 proposal presented by Governor Seyi Makinde as ambitious, people-centered, and strategically aligned with the development priorities of the state. Right Honorable Adebo, however, called Seyi Makinde's attention to the demands of the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, urging prompt action on issues like coroner's review, remuneration of deputy clerks, full legislative autonomy, upgrade and renovation of the House complex.
Notably, we have adopted over 500 resolutions addressing diverse socio-economic issues affecting our people. Significantly, Oyo State remains the first and only state assembly in Nigeria to establish a post-legislative scrutiny unit, further reinforcing our commitment to accountability, transparency, and results-oriented legislation.
The program had in attendance the Deputy Governor of Oyo State, Barrister Bayo Lawa, royal fathers, and other top government functionaries. Oluwapemi Bamidele, Agidigbo FM News.
You're welcome back once again. And now the exciting world of sports. The Nigerian national women's rugby league team, the Green Falcons, showed their dominance in Africa once again with a 48-8 win over Ghana's Leopards in the Three-Nation Rugby League game played at the University of Ghana Rugby Stadium. The Green Falcons will finish second at the International Rugby League World Series in Brampton, Canada, went ahead early in the game as the team consolidated its dominance, adding 38 points to Ghana's 8 in the second half to seal the win. Elsewhere, the Nigerian National Rugby League men's team, Green Hawks, started on the back foot, trailing 26 in the first half of the Three-Nation game against Ghana at the University of Ghana Rugby Stadium, led by Captain Gabriel Ertim, who had a strong game despite picking up an injury in the first 5 minutes of the encounter, yet showed class to lead the lads as they tried to settle a beat and play their game, but it was a little too late. The Three-Nation Rugby League Festival featured hosts Ghana, Nigeria, and the United States touring team, the Roots. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. Presidency says US is ready to boost Nigeria's security with intelligence, defense supports. Makinde unveils over 800 billion naira budget of economic expansion for 2026. Bolsonaro says hallucinatory effect of meds made him tamper with ankle tag. Venezuela rejects ridiculous US plan to designate Cartel de los Sols as terrorist organization. Green Hawks are falling Three-Nation Rugby League double header against Ghana. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. You can't force a person to show you respect, But you can refuse to be disrespected. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Akidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan. I am Wuraola Yusuf. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State government has said the over 1.5 million out of school children.
We give you reports from Oyo State,
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
the Southwest in Nigeria, and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.
Trust us to keep you informed every hour, every day.
Agidigbo 88.7 FM, the people's voice. Agidigbo 88.7 FM.